When we think of Africa's fight for independence, Kwame Nkrumah's name stands out as a symbol of hope, unity, and revolution. He was a man of grand visions, the first prime minister and president of Ghana, and a champion of Pan-Africanism. But despite his triumphs, Nkrumah's leadership ended abruptly and shockingly. In 1966, he was overthrown in a military coup, forced into exile, and never returned to power. How did this happen to one of Africa's most celebrated leaders? Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of why Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. This isn't just about a coup. It's a tale of ambition, international tensions, and the complex balance of power that swayed the future of Ghana and Africa as a whole. 1. The rise of a visionary. To understand why Nkrumah was overthrown, we first need to look at his rise to power. In 1957, Ghana became the first African country to gain independence from colonial rule. Nkrumah was at the forefront of this victory. He wasn't just a politician, he was a symbol of African freedom, an inspiration for millions. Nkrumah believed in the idea of Pan-Africanism, the unification of all African nations under a common goal of freedom, peace, and economic independence. He saw Ghana's independence as just the first step in liberating the entire continent. But Nkrumah wasn't just an idealist, he was also a pragmatist. He knew that political freedom was just one part of the puzzle. To truly prosper, Ghana needed economic independence. And here's where things started to get tricky. Nkrumah initiated ambitious projects like the Akosombo Dam, aimed at providing electricity to fuel Ghana's industrialization. He built schools, hospitals, and infrastructure that were designed to catapult Ghana into a modern nation. But all of this came at a cost. 2. Economic challenges and unrest. As Nkrumah's government focused on rapid modernization, the economic burden on the country grew heavier. Ghana was spending huge amounts of money on infrastructure, while global cocoa prices, the backbone of Ghana's economy, plummeted. Suddenly, the economy wasn't growing as fast as Nkrumah had hoped. Inflation rose, and the cost of living increased. People began to feel the strain. Nkrumah's government responded with austerity measures and new taxes, but this only fueled public discontent. The people, once hopeful and inspired by Nkrumah, now felt betrayed. 3. Nkrumah's authoritarian turn. On top of economic woes, Nkrumah began to face growing opposition from political rivals. To maintain control, he took drastic steps. He declared Ghana a one-party state and passed laws that stifled dissent. Critics were arrested and the media was heavily censored. To many, Nkrumah, once the symbol of freedom, was now seen as an authoritarian. His actions alienated not just political opponents, but also the very people who had once celebrated his leadership. 4. The role of foreign influence. However, Nkrumah's downfall wasn't just the result of domestic troubles. There were powerful international forces at play. Nkrumah was a firm advocate for neutrality during the Cold War, but his growing ties with the Soviet Union and socialist policies put him at odds with the West, particularly the United States and Britain. Western powers who had economic and political interests in Ghana saw Nkrumah's socialist leanings as a threat. There's evidence suggesting that foreign powers, including the CIA, were involved in supporting opposition groups and orchestrating the coup that would eventually remove Nkrumah from power. Though these claims remain controversial, it's undeniable that Nkrumah's leadership was seen as a challenge to Western influence in Africa. 5. The 1966 coup. On February 24, 1966, while Nkrumah was on a peace mission to Vietnam and China, his government was overthrown in a military coup. The coup was swift, bloodless, and supported by both military officers and civilians who had grown frustrated with Nkrumah's rule. Nkrumah, still abroad, was left powerless. He sought refuge in Guinea, where his friend, President Ahmed Sékou Touré, gave him the title of honorary co-president. Nkrumah spent the rest of his life in exile, continuing to write about Pan-Africanism and socialism, but he would never return to power. 6. The legacy of Kwame Nkrumah. Despite his downfall, Nkrumah's legacy remains a powerful force in Africa's history. He may have been overthrown, but his ideas of African unity and independence continue to inspire movements across the continent. The story of Kwame Nkrumah is a reminder that even the most visionary leaders face obstacles, but their dreams live on. Thank you for joining us in exploring the rise and fall of one of Africa's greatest leaders. If you found this story insightful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others. And let us know in the comments, what do you think Nkrumah's legacy means for Africa today?